Captain Jake Morrison sat in his chair on the bridge of the ship called New Horizon. The stars looked peaceful through the big window in front of him. But Jake knew that space was not always peaceful. His ship was small compared to the big warships of other alien races. Earth had only been traveling to the stars for about 100 years. Most aliens still thought humans were weak and new to space. Jake looked at his crew. Lisa Carter was the pilot. She had short red hair and quick hands that could fly the ship better than anyone. Ben Parker worked with the ship's engines. He was always fixing something or making it work better. Amy Sullivan was the doctor. She took care of everyone when they got hurt. Ryan Torres handled all the talking to other ships. He could speak many alien languages. The crew was on a mission for Earth. They were supposed to meet new alien races and try to be friends with them. It was important work, but it was also dangerous. Many aliens did not trust humans yet. Ryan suddenly looked up from his screen. His face was worried. "Captain, I'm getting a distress call." "Where from?" Jake asked. "The Andorian system. It's a civilian transport ship. They say they're under attack." Jake stood up. "Who's attacking them?" Ryan's face went pale. "The Crimson Fleet, sir." Everyone on the bridge became quiet. The Crimson Fleet was the most feared group of ships in the galaxy. They were led by someone called Empress Zara Veltar. People called her the Widow of Stars. She had never lost a battle. Her ships were strange and scary. They could heal themselves when they got damaged. "How far are we from there?" Jake asked. Lisa checked her controls. "About 2 hours if we go as fast as we can." Ben shook his head. "Captain, we can't fight the Crimson Fleet. Our ship is too small. We don't have big weapons like they do." Amy looked worried too. "I've heard stories about Empress Zara. They say she has killed over 100 warriors in single combat. Her sword can cut through anything." Jake walked to the big window and looked at the stars. He thought about the people on that transport ship. They were probably scared and alone. No one else would help them because everyone was afraid of Empress Zara. "Sir," Ryan said quietly, "the transport ship has 300 people on it. Families with children?" Jake closed his eyes for a moment. He remembered something his father had told him long ago. "Son," his father had said, "sometimes doing the right thing is not the same as doing the safe thing." Lisa set course for the Andorian system. "Full speed." Lisa turned in her chair. "Captain, are you sure? The Crimson Fleet has ships that are 10 times bigger than ours." "I'm sure," Jake said. "We can't just let innocent people die." Ben stood up. "But what can we do against Empress Zara? She conquers whole planets." Jake sat back down in his chair. "I don't know yet. But we'll think of something. Humans are good at finding ways to solve problems." The ship jumped to hyperspace. The stars became long white lines outside the windows. Jake felt his stomach twist, but not from the jump to hyperspace. He was scared, but he tried not to show it. "Tell me everything you know about Empress Zara," Jake said to Ryan. Ryan looked at his computer. "She's not human. She's from a race called the Veltari. They're very tall and strong. She's been fighting for over 200 years. Her fleet has bioships." "Bioships?" Amy asked. "Ships that are part machine and part living creature," Ben explained. "They can grow new parts when they get damaged. It's like they heal themselves." "What about her personally?" Jake asked. Ryan read more from his screen. "She stands 7 feet tall. She wears armor that's powered by something called exotic matter. Her sword is made of plasma. It can cut through the hull of a starship." Lisa whistled. "And we're going to fight her with what? Our good looks?" Jake smiled a little. "Maybe. Humans have surprised people before." "Captain," Ryan said, "I'm getting more signals from the battle. It sounds bad. The transport ship is trying to run, but the Crimson Fleet is too fast." "How long until we get there?" Jake asked. 1 hour and 40 minutes, Lisa said. Jake stood up again. "Ben, what weapons do we have?" Ben looked embarrassed. 2 small laser cannons and some basic shields. The laser cannons are meant for clearing space debris, not fighting warships." "What about our engines?" "They're fast. Faster than most alien ships, but speed won't help us much in a fight." Jake nodded. He walked around the bridge thinking. Everyone watched him. They trusted him, but they were all scared. "Amy, what do you know about human biology compared to other species?" Amy looked confused. "Well, humans are pretty average in most ways. We're not as strong as some aliens, but we're not the weakest either. Our brains work differently than most species, though." "How so?" "Most aliens think in very straight lines. They follow patterns. Humans are more random. We can think of ideas that other species would never consider. Jake stopped walking. That's it. What's it? Lisa asked. Everyone expects us to act like other species, but we don't have to. We can do things that no one expects. Ryan looked at his screen again. Captain, we're getting close. I can see the battle on the long-range sensors. Put it on the main screen, Jake ordered. The big window changed to show what the sensors could see. In the distance, they could see flashes of light. Ships were firing at each other. The transport ship was small and white. It was trying to escape from several dark red ships that looked like giant insects. One of the red ships was much bigger than the others. It had long, curved parts that looked like claws. Strange lights moved along its surface like veins. That's the Void Reaper, Ryan whispered. Empress Zara's flagship. As they watched, the big red ship fired a beam of energy. The beam hit one of the ships that was trying to protect the transport. The protecting ship exploded in a ball of fire. 2 more protecting ships left, Lisa said. They won't last long. Jake sat down in his chair. Take us out of hyperspace. Right between the Crimson Fleet and the transport ship. Sir? Lisa looked shocked. You heard me. Put us right in the middle. Ben grabbed his chair. Captain, that's suicide. Maybe, Jake said. Or maybe it's the most human thing we can do. The ship dropped out of hyperspace. Suddenly they were in the middle of a real space battle. Red laser beams flew past their windows. The noise of explosions came through the ship's hull. We're being scanned, Ryan reported. All the Crimson Fleet ships are looking at us. Jake looked at the huge red ships around them. Each one could destroy the New Horizon with a single shot. But something interesting happened. The shooting stopped. They're confused, Amy said, looking at her medical sensors. I can read their biosigns. They don't understand why we're here. Jake smiled. Good, confusion is exactly what we want. He stood up and straightened his uniform. Ryan, open a channel to all ships, including Empress Zara's flagship. Channel open, sir. Jake took a deep breath. This was the moment that would either save 300 innocent people or get his whole crew killed. This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship New Horizon. I am here to claim salvage rights over the transport vessel under ancient Terran maritime law. The bridge became completely quiet. Even the sounds of the battle seemed to stop. Did you just, Lisa started to say, challenge the most dangerous person in the galaxy to a legal argument? Jake finished. Yes, I did. Ryan's screen lit up with incoming messages. Sir, we're getting responses from all over the galaxy. Word is spreading fast. On the main screen, they could see the huge red flagship turning toward them. It was coming closer, I think, Ben said quietly. We just got Empress Zara's attention. The giant red ship called Void Reaper moved closer to the New Horizon. Jake could see its dark surface covered with strange patterns that looked like veins. The ship was at least 50 times bigger than his own vessel. It looked like a giant sea creature from the deep ocean. Ryan stared at his screen with wide eyes. Captain, I'm getting messages from all over the galaxy. Everyone wants to know what we're doing here. What kind of messages? Jake asked. Some are calling us heroes. Others are calling us crazy. Most are taking bets on how long we'll survive. Lisa turned around in her pilot seat. What's the longest bet? Ryan checked his screen again. 30 seconds after we meet Empress Zara face to face. Ben laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. 30 seconds? That's optimistic. Amy was looking at her medical scanner. I'm reading the biosigns from the Crimson Fleet ships. They're all confused. This has never happened before. Jake nodded. Good. When people are confused, they make mistakes. And when they make mistakes, we have a chance. The communication system made a sound. A voice came through the speakers. It was deep and smooth like silk over steel. The voice belonged to a woman. But it was not like any woman's voice they had ever heard. It was the voice of someone who had never been afraid of anything. Small human ship, the voice said. I am Empress Zara Veltar. You speak of laws I do not know. Explain yourself before I turn your ship into space dust. Jake took a deep breath. He had practiced this moment in his head during the trip here. Your Imperial Majesty, I invoke the ancient Earth law of maritime salvage. The transport ship was in distress. We arrived to help. Under our law, this gives us certain rights. There was silence for a long moment. Then they heard something that no one had ever heard before. Empress Zara was laughing. Maritime salvage? She said. You quote laws from your small wet planet to me?
In space?
With respect, Your Majesty, space law is still very new. Earth laws are thousands of years old. They have been tested many times, Lisa whispered to Jake. Well, what are you doing? Jake whispered back, buying time and making her curious. The Empress spoke again. Human Captain, what is your name? Jake Morrison, Your Imperial Majesty. Captain Morrison, in my 200 years of conquest, no one has ever tried to solve a battle with ancient laws from a backward planet. This interests me. Ryan looked excited. She's interested. That's better than being vaporized. I propose a solution, Empress Zara continued. You and I will meet in personal combat aboard my flagship. If you win, you may take the transport ship and leave. If I win, your crew will watch as I slowly destroy your ship piece by piece. The bridge became very quiet. Everyone stared at Jake. Ben stood up quickly. Captain, you can't fight her. She's killed over 100 warriors in single combat. She has armor powered by exotic matter. Her sword can cut through anything. Amy checked her medical scanner again. According to my readings, she's 7 feet tall and 3 times stronger than a normal human. Lisa grabbed Jake's arm. This is suicide, Jake. There has to be another way. Jake looked at his crew. These people trusted him. They had followed him into danger because they believed in him. Now he was about to risk everything on a fight he could not win. Ryan, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them what happened here. Tell them we tried to do the right thing. Sir, you're not seriously considering this, Ryan said. Jake smiled at his crew. I've been thinking about this since we left hyperspace. We can't beat the Crimson Fleet in a space battle. We don't have the weapons or the shields, but maybe, just maybe, I can surprise Empress Zara in personal combat. How? Amy asked. She's faster and stronger than you. She's also used to fighting other alien warriors. They all fight with honor and follow rules. But I'm human. I don't have to follow their rules. Ben shook his head. You're going to fight dirty? I'm going to fight human, Jake said. There's a difference. The Empress spoke again over the communication system. Captain Morrison, I am waiting for your answer. Jake pressed the button to respond. I accept your challenge, Your Imperial Majesty. But I have one condition. There was another silence. Then Empress Zara laughed again. You dare to make conditions? You are either very brave or very stupid. Maybe both, Your Majesty. My condition is this. If I win, you let the transport ship go free and you stop attacking innocent civilians. And if you lose? If I lose, you can do whatever you want with my ship and crew. Interesting. Most warriors only fight for their own honor. You fight for strangers you have never met. Very well, I accept your condition. Prepare to come aboard my ship. The communication ended. Jake turned to his crew. Lisa, I need you to do something for me. Anything, Captain. If I don't come back, take the ship and run. Don't try to rescue me. Get back to Earth and tell them what happened here. Lisa's eyes filled with tears. We're not leaving you. That's an order, Jake said gently. Ben was working at his station. Captain, I'm upgrading your EVA suit with everything I can think of. Extra power, better comm system, emergency medical supplies. Thanks, Ben, that might help. Amy handed him a small device. This is an emergency medical injector. If you get badly hurt, press this button. It will keep you alive for a few more minutes. Jake took the device and put it in his pocket. Let's hope I don't need it. Ryan looked up from his screen. Sir, the whole galaxy is watching this. Every communication channel is talking about the human captain who challenged Empress Zara. What are they saying? Most think you're insane. But some are calling you the bravest person in the galaxy. Jake put on his spacesuit with Ben's improvements. It felt heavier than usual with all the extra equipment. One more thing, Jake said to his crew. If, by some miracle, I actually win this fight, be ready to move fast. I don't think the rest of the Crimson Fleet will be happy about it. A new voice came over the communication system. It was not Empress Zara. It was one of her crew members. Human ship, prepare for docking. The Empress is waiting. Jake walked to the airlock. His crew followed him. Remember, he said, humans are good at finding solutions that no one else thinks of. Maybe today I'll find one that even surprises me. Lisa hugged him. Come back to us, Captain. I plan to, Jake said. But as he stepped into the airlock, he wondered if he was about to make the biggest mistake in human history. The airlock closed behind him. Through the small window, he could see his crew watching him. They looked scared, but they also looked proud. Jake pressed the button to open the outer door. The giant red ship Void Reaper was waiting for him. Somewhere inside that ship was the most dangerous person in the galaxy. Well, Jake said to himself, let's see what humans are really made of. Jake floated through space toward the massive red ship. The Void Reaper was even more frightening up close. Its surface moved like it was alive. Strange lights pulsed under the skin of the ship like a heartbeat. As he got closer, an opening appeared in the hull. It looked like a mouth opening to swallow him. Jake guided himself through the opening. Inside, the ship was dark and warm. The walls curved around him like he was inside a giant creature. Red lights showed him the way forward. His boots touched the floor as artificial gravity took hold. 2 tall alien warriors met him. They looked like humans but were much bigger. Their skin was dark gray and their eyes glowed red. They wore armor that seemed to be part of their bodies. "Follow us, human," one of them said. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. They walked through long corridors. The walls were covered with weapons. Jake saw swords, axes, spears, and things he could not identify. All of them looked old and well used. "Are these from battles?" Jake asked. "These are the weapons of warriors who challenged our Empress," the guard said. "She keeps them to remember her victories." Jake counted the weapons as they walked. There were hundreds of them. Each one represented someone who had died fighting Empress Zara. They reached a huge door that was taller than 3 men. Strange symbols glowed on its surface. The door opened without making a sound. "The Empress waits inside," the guard said. "Enter alone." Jake stepped through the door. The room beyond was enormous. The ceiling was so high he could barely see it in the dim light. In the center of the room was a raised platform. On the platform was a throne made of black metal and red crystal. Sitting on the throne was Empress Zara Veltar. She was the most beautiful and terrifying person Jake had ever seen. She was 7 feet tall, just as the reports had said. Her skin was pale white with silver markings that looked like tattoos. Her hair was long and black, flowing over her shoulders like liquid night. Her eyes were completely black with tiny stars that seemed to move inside them. She wore armor that looked like it was made of dark metal and living tissue. The armor moved slightly as she breathed. Red lines of energy ran across its surface. In her right hand she held a sword. The blade was made of glowing plasma that hummed with deadly power. "So," she said, standing up from her throne, "you are the human who speaks of ancient laws." Her voice was even more powerful in person. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. Jake felt like a mouse standing before a giant cat. "Your Imperial Majesty," Jake said, trying to keep his voice steady. Empress Zara walked down from her throne. Each step echoed through the huge room. As she got closer, Jake could see that she moved like a dancer and a warrior at the same time. Every movement was graceful and deadly. "You are smaller than I expected," she said, walking in a circle around him. "Most species send their biggest warriors to fight me. You humans send someone who looks like he should be sitting at a desk." Jake turned to keep facing her. "Humans don't always do what other species expect, Your Majesty." She stopped in front of him. Up close, her presence was overwhelming. She radiated power like a star radiates heat. "Tell me, Captain Morrison, have you ever killed anyone?" Jake thought about lying, but something told him that would be a mistake. "No, Your Majesty, I have not." Empress Zara tilted her head. "Interesting. You come to fight the most dangerous warrior in the galaxy, and you have never even taken a life. Are all humans this foolish?" "We prefer to think of it as optimistic, Your Majesty." For the first time, Jake saw something that might have been amusement in her black eyes. "Optimistic," she repeated. "I have conquered 14 star systems. I have destroyed entire fleets. I have killed more warriors than you have met people. And you are optimistic that you can defeat me? I'm optimistic that I can surprise you, Your Majesty." Empress Zara raised her plasma sword. The blade was 3 feet long and glowed like a piece of the sun. The heat from it made the air shimmer. "Then let us begin. Try to surprise me before I kill you." The battle started faster than Jake expected. Empress Zara moved like lightning. Her sword cut through the air where Jake's head had been a split second before. He rolled to the side, barely avoiding the deadly blade. She attacked again, this time aiming for his chest. Jake threw himself backward, landing hard on the floor. The plasma sword passed inches from his face. He could feel the heat burning his skin. "You are fast for a human," Empress Zara said, "but speed alone will not save you." She came at him again. This time, Jake did something no warrior had ever done in this room. He grabbed a decorative vase from beside the throne and threw it at her head. Empress Zara cut the vase in half with her sword, but the distraction gave Jake time to get back on his feet. He picked up a piece of the broken vase and threw that too. "What are you doing?" she asked, sounding genuinely confused. "Fighting," Jake said, grabbing a ceremonial staff from the wall. "That is not fighting. That is throwing things." Same thing from where I'm standing, Empress Zara attacked again. Jake used the staff to block her sword. The plasma blade cut through the staff like it was made of paper, but it slowed her down for a moment. Jake used that moment to sweep her legs with the remaining piece of the staff. For the first time in decades, Empress Zara stumbled. She did not fall, but she had to take a step back to keep her balance. She stared at Jake with wide eyes. You tried to trip me. Yes, Your Majesty. No one has ever tried to trip me. Then no one has ever fought you the way humans fight. Empress Zara began to circle him again. But now she was watching him differently. Before she had looked at him like he was prey. Now she was studying him like he was a puzzle. Show me more of this human fighting, she said. Jake picked up a heavy candlestick and threw it at her feet. When she jumped over it, he rolled under her leap and came up behind her. He tried to grab her sword arm, but she spun around too quickly. Her sword came at his neck. Jake ducked and tackled her around the waist. It was like tackling a tree. She did not move, but for a moment her sword was pointing the wrong way. Empress Zara pushed him away easily. Jake flew across the room and hit the wall hard. His vision went dark for a moment. Interesting, she said, walking toward him. You fight like an animal. No honor, no rules, no style. Jake struggled to his feet. His whole body hurt. Is that bad? It is. She paused, thinking. Unexpected. She raised her sword again. Jake knew he was running out of time and energy. He needed to do something that would really surprise her. Your Majesty, may I ask you a question? Empress Zara stopped. You wish to talk now? While we are fighting. Do you know what chess is? She looked confused. Chess? It's a human game. Two players move pieces on a board. The goal is to capture the other player's king. Why are you telling me about games? Jake backed away slowly, keeping his distance from her sword. In chess, sometimes the best move is the one your opponent never sees coming. You can sacrifice important pieces to win the game. And, I just realized something, Your Majesty. This whole fight is like a chess game. You're the queen, the most powerful piece on the board, but I don't have to be the king. Empress Zara tilted her head. What are you then? Jake smiled, even though his face was bleeding. I'm the pawn that made it to the other side of the board. He did something that stopped Empress Zara completely. Instead of running or attacking or begging for mercy, Jake sat down on the floor cross-legged and looked up at her calmly. The problem with being the most powerful person in the galaxy, he said, is that everyone always tries to beat you the same way. They try to be stronger or faster or more skilled than you, but what if someone doesn't try to beat you at all? Empress Zara lowered her sword slightly. What do you mean? What if someone just tries to show you something you've never seen before? For a long moment, they stared at each other. The most dangerous warrior in the galaxy and a human captain sitting on her throne room floor. Then Empress Zara did something that shocked Jake. She raised her plasma sword and pointed it at his throat. But instead of killing him, she leaned down close to his ear. Kiss me, she whispered, or be vaporized. Jake looked up at Empress Zara. Her plasma sword was so close to his throat that he could feel the heat burning his skin. Her black eyes with moving stars stared down at him. Every warrior who had ever been in this position was either dead or had begged for mercy. But Jake did something that surprised even himself. He smiled. I choose option 3, he said calmly. Empress Zara blinked. For the first time in 200 years, someone had said something she did not expect. Option 3? She asked. I gave you 2 choices. Humans always look for a third choice when someone gives us an impossible situation, Jake said. It's what we do. Explain. Jake shifted slightly but did not try to move away from her sword. Your Majesty, you offered me 2 choices. Kiss you or die. But there's a third option you didn't think of. Which is, I could teach you something. Empress Zara stared at him. In all her years of conquest, no one had ever offered to teach her anything. People either fought her or feared her. They never tried to educate her. Teach me what? How to be genuinely surprised. Jake could see confusion in her eyes. She was trying to understand what he meant. I have been alive for over 200 years, she said. I have seen the rise and fall of civilizations. I have fought warriors from 1,000 different worlds. What could you possibly teach me? That's exactly the problem, Jake said. You've seen everything, so nothing surprises you anymore. But today, in this room, I've already surprised you 3 times. 3 times? First, when I threw things at you instead of fighting with honor. Second, when I tried to trip you instead of matching your strength. And third, when I sat down and started talking about chess instead of continuing to fight. Empress Zara thought about this. She lowered her sword slightly. Continue, she said. Your Majesty, when was the last time you didn't know what was going to happen next? The question seemed to hit her like a physical blow. She stood up straight and backed away from him. I do not remember, she said quietly. Jake slowly stood up. He kept his hands where she could see them. That's why you're bored, he said. You've become so powerful that life has become predictable. Every battle ends the same way. Every enemy does what you expect them to do. Yes, she said, and there was something like sadness in her voice. But humans are different. We don't follow the same patterns as other species. We do things that don't make sense. We find solutions where others see only problems. Empress Zara walked to her throne and sat down. For the first time since Jake had entered the room, she looked tired. You speak the truth, she said. I have grown weary of victories that require no effort, of enemies who fall before they even try to fight. Then let me make you an offer, Jake said. You are in no position to make offers, human. Maybe not, but hear me out anyway. She gestured for him to continue. Instead of killing me, let me go back to my ship. Let the transport vessel go free. And in return, I promise you something no one else in the galaxy can give you. Which is, I promise that you will never know what humans are going to do next. Empress Zara leaned forward. Explain. Humans are just starting to explore the galaxy. We're going to meet new species, discover new worlds, get into situations that no one has ever faced before. And every time we do, we're going to handle it in ways that no one expects. That interests me, she admitted. More than that, Jake continued, if you let us live, I can promise you that someday, when you least expect it, we'll cross paths again, and when we do, I guarantee I'll find a way to surprise you again. Empress Zara stood up from her throne. She walked to a window that looked out into space. Through it, Jake could see his ship, the New Horizon, looking tiny next to the massive Crimson Fleet vessels. You offer me uncertainty, she said. I offer you the possibility of being surprised again. She turned back to him. And what do you want in return? Just what I said before. Let the transport ship go. Let my crew go, and stop attacking innocent civilians. You ask me to change how I have lived for 2 centuries. I ask you to try something new. Empress Zara walked back to him. She raised her sword again, but this time she did not point it at his throat. Instead, she held it out to the side. You are either the bravest human who has ever lived or the most foolish. Probably both, Jake said. For the first time, Empress Zara smiled. It was a real smile, not the cold expression she usually wore. I accept your offer, she said. Jake felt relief wash over him like a wave. Thank you, Your Majesty. Do not thank me yet. I am not doing this out of kindness. I am doing it because I am curious to see what you humans will do next. She pressed a button on her throne. Her voice echoed throughout the ship. All vessels cease fire. The human transport is free to go. The human ship New Horizon will be escorted safely away from this system. Jake heard cheering through his communication device. His crew was celebrating on the bridge of their ship. However, Empress Zara continued, I have one condition. What is it, Your Majesty? She walked to a cabinet near her throne and took out a small device. It looked like a piece of metal, but it seemed to be alive. It pulsed with a soft red light. This is a biocommunicator, she said, handing it to him. It is made from my ship's living metal. It will allow us to talk across any distance in the galaxy. Jake took the device. It felt warm in his hand. Why are you giving this to me? Because I meant what I said. I want to see what humans do next. And when you find yourself in another impossible situation, which you will, I want to hear about it. And then we will see if you can surprise me again. Jake put the device in his pocket. I'll do my best, Your Majesty. See that you do. Because if you ever become predictable, Captain Morrison, I will find you and finish what we started here today. But she said it with that same smile, and Jake could tell she was not really threatening him. She was making a promise of future adventures. Guards appeared at the door to escort Jake back to his ship. As he walked toward them, Empress Zara called out to him, Captain Morrison. He turned back to her. When you return to your ship, your crew will ask you what happened here. What will you tell them? Jake thought for a moment. I'll tell them that today humanity made its first real friend in the galaxy. Empress Zara laughed. It was a sound like silver bells mixed with thunder. "Friend," she said, "is that what you think I am? I think you're someone who was lonely and didn't realize it until someone offered you the gift of unpredictability." The smile faded from her face, but not in anger. She looked thoughtful. "Perhaps you are right," she said quietly. "Perhaps I have been lonely." Jake bowed to her. "Until we meet again, Your Imperial Majesty." "Until we meet again, Captain Morrison. And we will meet again. I am certain of it." Jake walked out of the throne room. As he made his way back through the corridors of the living ship, he could hear the crew of the Void Reaper talking in hushed voices. Word was spreading quickly that their Empress had let a human live. When he reached his ship, his crew was waiting for him at the airlock. Lisa hugged him so hard he could barely breathe. "We thought you were dead," she said. "So did I," Jake admitted. "What happened in there?" Ben asked. Jake looked back at the massive red ship that was already moving away from them. "I think," he said, "we just changed the course of galactic history." 3 weeks passed after the encounter with Empress Zara. The New Horizon was traveling through space toward their next destination. Jake sat in his captain's chair, looking at the stars through the main window. But his mind was not on the stars. He was thinking about the small device in his pocket that pulsed with red light. The biocommunicator had been quiet since they left the Andorian system. But Jake knew that someday it would activate. Empress Zara was watching and waiting to see what humans would do next. "Captain," Ryan said from his station, "we're getting a priority message from Earth Command." "Put it through," Jake said. The face of Admiral Sarah Johnson appeared on the main screen. She was an older woman with gray hair and serious eyes. She had been Jake's commanding officer for 5 years. "Captain Morrison," she said, "I've read your report about the Crimson Fleet encounter. I have to ask, are you certain about what happened?" "Yes, Admiral. Empress Zara let us go. She also released the civilian transport and promised to stop attacking innocent ships." Admiral Johnson looked skeptical. "Jake, this is the same person who has conquered 14 star systems. She's never shown mercy to anyone before. With respect, Admiral, no one had ever offered her what I offered her." "Which was?" "The promise of being surprised." Admiral Johnson shook her head. "The Galactic Council is having trouble believing your story, too. They say it's impossible that you convinced the most dangerous warrior in the galaxy to let you live by talking about chess and human unpredictability." Lisa turned around in her pilot chair. "Admiral, I can confirm everything the captain said. We monitored the entire encounter through his suit's communication system." "That's another thing," Admiral Johnson said. "The recording you sent has been analyzed by our best scientists. They say the language patterns from Empress Zara show genuine interest and amusement. They've never seen anything like it in recordings of her previous encounters." Ben looked up from his engineering station. "What does that mean for us, Admiral?" Admiral Johnson smiled for the first time during the conversation. "It means, Mr. Parker, that Earth has suddenly become very popular. We've received communication requests from over 50 alien species in the past 3 weeks. They all want to establish diplomatic relations with the species that can talk their way out of a fight with Empress Zara." Jake sat up straight. 50 species? "Including some that have never spoken to outsiders before. The Crystalline Collective, the Void Swimmers, even the mysterious Builders have sent messages. They all want to know how humans think." Amy looked excited. "That's incredible. We could learn so much from them." "There's more," Admiral Johnson continued. "The Galactic Council has invited Earth to join as a full member. Not as a junior partner like most new species, but as an equal voice in galactic affairs." Ryan whistled. "From unknown species to council members in 3 weeks. That might be a record." Admiral Johnson nodded. "The council is particularly interested in establishing a new department of Unconventional Problem Resolution. They want humans to lead it." Jake felt the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. "What would that involve?" "Exactly what you did with Empress Zara. When the galaxy faces problems that can't be solved through normal diplomatic or military means, they want humans to find a third option." The conversation was interrupted by a soft chiming sound from Jake's pocket. The biocommunicator was activating for the first time since their encounter. "Admiral, I need to take this call," Jake said. "From whom?" Jake pulled out the pulsing red device. "From Empress Zara." Admiral Johnson's eyes went wide. "She can contact you directly?" "She said she wanted to see what humans would do next." Jake activated the device. Suddenly, the familiar voice of Empress Zara filled the bridge of the New Horizon. "Captain Morrison," she said, "I have been watching the galactic communication networks with great interest." "Your Majesty," Jake said. "It's good to hear from you, is it? You may change your mind when you hear why I'm calling." Jake felt a chill run down his spine. "What's wrong?" "Nothing is wrong. But something is about to happen that will test whether humans are truly as unpredictable as you claimed." Admiral Johnson moved closer to Jake's chair. She wanted to hear every word. "What kind of test?" Jake asked. "The Devourer fleet has been detected at the edge of the galaxy," Empress Zara said. "They are moving toward the core systems." The bridge became very quiet. Everyone had heard stories about the Devourer fleet. They were ancient machines that consumed entire planets for fuel. No one knew where they came from or how to stop them. "How long before they reach inhabited systems?" Jake asked. 6 months, perhaps less. Admiral Johnson spoke up. "Your Majesty, this is Admiral Johnson of Earth Command. What can humans do against machines that have destroyed civilizations?" "That, Admiral, is exactly what I am curious to discover. The Galactic Council's fleets cannot stop them. My Crimson Fleet cannot stop them. Traditional weapons and strategies are useless against the Devourers." Jake understood. "You think humans might find a solution that no one else has thought of?" "I think, Captain Morrison, that this is your chance to surprise the entire galaxy." Jake looked around at his crew. They all looked scared, but they also looked determined. This was what they had trained for, the unknown challenges of deep space. "Where do we start?" Jake asked. "There is an ancient research station in the void between stars. It was built by the first civilization to encounter the Devourers, millions of years ago. They left behind records of their attempts to fight the machines. Did they succeed? No, but they learned things that might be useful to someone who thinks differently than they did." Jake made his decision. "Admiral Johnson, request permission to investigate this research station." "Jake, this is incredibly dangerous. We don't know anything about these Devourers." "That's exactly why we need to go, Admiral. If we wait until we know everything, it will be too late." Empress Zara's voice came through the communicator again. "Captain Morrison, I have a proposal." "What kind of proposal?" "Allow me to escort your ship to the research station. My fleet knows the void between stars better than anyone. We can protect you while you investigate." Jake was surprised. "You want to help us?" "I want to see what humans can accomplish when faced with an impossible situation. And perhaps it is time for the Crimson Fleet to stop conquering and start protecting." Admiral Johnson looked shocked. "The most feared fleet in the galaxy wants to help Earth?" "The galaxy is about to face extinction, Admiral," Empress Zara said. "Old enemies must become new allies if we are to survive." Jake felt the weight of the moment. The decision he made now could affect the fate of billions of people across the galaxy. "Lisa, set course for the rendezvous coordinates that Empress Zara provides. Ben, prepare the ship for extended deep space operations. Amy, start researching everything we know about ancient civilizations. Ryan, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them we're going to save the galaxy or die trying." Admiral Johnson nodded slowly. "Permission granted, Captain." "And Jake?" "Yes, Admiral? The whole galaxy is counting on you to find that third option." As the New Horizon changed course toward the unknown, Jake looked out at the stars and thought about the impossible task ahead of them. Somewhere out there, ancient machines were moving toward the inhabited galaxy, destroying everything in their path. But Jake was not afraid. He was excited, because if there was one thing humans were good at, it was finding solutions where others saw only problems. And if there was one thing Jake Morrison was good at, it was surprising people who thought they had seen everything. "Your Majesty," he said into the biocommunicator, "I have a feeling this is going to be the most interesting adventure either of us has ever had." Empress Zara's laughter echoed through the bridge. "Captain Morrison, I am counting on it." The New Horizon jumped into hyperspace, heading toward the void between stars and whatever secrets waited there. Behind them, the Crimson Fleet followed, no longer as conquerors, but as protectors. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, ancient machines continued their slow march toward the heart of the galaxy, unaware that they were about to encounter the most unpredictable force in the universe: human ingenuity. Jake smiled as he watched the stars streak past the windows. The galaxy had asked humans to find a third option when faced with an impossible choice. He intended to give them exactly that. The adventure was just beginning.